All right, welcome back to the third episode, or the third stream. Last time we set up our project. I made a player object and applied a sprite that I made in Adobe Illustrator with generative AI, just to have something nice to look at, not just a boring square or whatever. And we got it to move. So we made this Adobe, we added to our sprite in Unity, we added a script called player, and that player script is capable of finding the physics rigid body on start, and then on every update it will move the rigid body based on velocity, and the velocity will be based on the input value, which is set on every time the player, so basically the player, I mean from outside, like using the keyboard, does something that calls the onMove function, which is handled by the input manager, which is a package that we installed, which was not part of the, let's say, native packages pre-installed. And just to quickly test it again, pressing play. If we go here, so one thing, it's still going down because of gravity, but if we use the arrows we can move it around. Alright, so we are moving around our player, which is the AI neural network, but we shouldn't actually be moving around our neural network, because our neural network is just a piece of code, so it's not moving around in the physical world. So we should make a new object called, I don't know, machine robot device. I'll do a little prompt in ChatGPT to just give a small explanation of the game, and then ask for some terms that might be better used other than just machine, because a machine is just a machine, and I think later in the game you'll also be controlling other things than just machines, possibly even humans, through neural interfaces. So we should make sure that the term is broad enough to encompass all of those things. And when the player does a moving input, it should pass through the player, but then be passed through the device that the player is controlling. So we need to move the code for moving stuff to the physical object in the physical world, and the player object should just follow that by setting its position to the position of the machine it is controlling. All right, let's press pause here. Let's go to ChatGPT. What is this? Oh, that's fine. Right. Last time we also asked why sprites are called sprites, but let's just ask it. So, I'm making a game where you play as an AI neural network, which itself doesn't really manifests itself in the physical world, controls machines, devices, or possibly even humans by taking control of them. So it is the physical hosts which are moving around in the world. I'm looking for, alright, and each of those hosts / machines will have modules dictating their capabilities, like locomotion, perception, internet connection, power management, etc. I'm looking for a term to describe. one more term, a broad term to use as the host of which the player AI is taking control. That applies to machines, humans, or anything AI can take control of, as well as a term for the modules inside them. Host. Well, actually, I kind of fed it the term host. Oh no, okay. For hosts, it's proposing avatar. This term broadly applies to any entity, whether machine, human, or other, that AI can take control of. Oh yeah, so that's like, that makes sense, I guess. Honestly, that kind of makes sense. Vessel also makes sense. Being used or occupied by the AI. Suitable for both living beings and machines. Agent. Proxy. I also like the word proxy. Alright, modules, subsystems, components. Yes, component is good. I think the only problem there is that the word component is used also in Unity, so that might be confusing. Nodes. So I like nodes, but not for this. I think I would use nodes for the modules of the AI itself, so the code. So I should actually maybe go here. Let's save this. Let's just add a note here. Player takes control of the avatar or proxy. I think it will be one of those. AI has nodes, has a series of interconnect nodes, each of which are responsible for certain functions of the AI, while modules give function to the physical avatar proxies. Right. But just to reiterate, like maybe to put it in a scheme. Honestly though, I think for some parts draw.io might be better than just having to draw stuff. Because I think a downside of the Millinode is that it doesn't seem to have like these generic shapes to connect. And did it start up? Or is it? Oh, it was just very, very slow. Right. So you as a player / AI, I think it should be, so this is a draw.io, which also it's just to make all kinds of diagrams, and the reason why I'm using it because there's a lot of functionality here that I don't find in a Millinode. Well, for now, because I haven't used Millinode before, so I want to make it a container, but I don't want it to resize the chiller, right? So then we would call node, which might be like a logic node, which is just capable of doing basic logic. Then we have like, let's say, visual node that would allow it to process visual data, process audio data. So this is all software. And then this thing takes control of, and we should put a border here. This is the virtual world. This is the real world. And then here we have something called avatar, which has modules. And we can have a module for locomotion. We can have a module for power. We can have a module for, oh yeah, like network. Like this is connected to the internet, because if it doesn't have a network, then you won't be able to actually reach it, even though it still exists in the world, unless maybe you have, let's make another module, maybe like well, the computer, the module, because if it doesn't have a computer, it can have all of this, but if it doesn't have a computer where you can actually connect to and control everything else, and it just won't work, right? So this is kind of the hierarchy that I want to create in the objects and classes in Unity. And so we now created something for this, and now the script is moving this around in the world, but that's not what's supposed to happen. So when we can actually even create a second layer, another layer on top of that, which is the meta world, which is just the player's world, because you as a player, I mean the human playing the game, you will use like your keyboard, which is now being managed by the input manager. So we're dealing now, this is sending instructions to the player, say, hey, I want to move around, but this will need to be like relayed through the logic module or whatever to the locomotion module. And this thing is the thing that will then move around, because this is just existing in the virtual world. So that's something that we need to change. Yeah, so let's go to player scripts. So let's create another sprite object. Doesn't matter what shape it is, and we'll call this, I still have to think, do I like avatar or proxy? Just quickly gonna check. All right. Let's go back to, do I want to see, the one thing that I wouldn't want to use the word avatar, because it's too much of a link to the movie and the series, and that's not really what I'm going for here. Proxy, an intermediary that acts on behalf. You're my proxy. Because the thing is, like, what if I ever want to use that word as part of the game title? Avatar is it's just not an option, because that's not what I wanted to link. Well, proxy is a word that I don't know, but I don't know a movie or series that's called proxy, or a brand already. It probably is, but it's not as famous. Proxy. I'll start with the word proxy. It's also shorter. I think it's easier to write. So let's say for proxy modules. Fine. Right. Rename. Make a script. Proxy. Attach the script. Can't add script. Cannot be found. Oh, it probably hadn't created it yet. Proxy. Right, and actually, before we continue, keep it. Go to Illustrator again, and the first proxy that like I've talked about being like starting out as a small Roomba. So let's make that the sprite of our first proxy. A sci-fi cyber futuristic vacuum machine like a Roomba shown from the side as a 2D view. Let's just start off with that. Let's see what it does. I think the tricky part will be to get a side view, because I've noticed that, like, although for most of these it's pretty straightforward. This looks cool, it's just that it's not the view that I'm looking for. They're all way too much in perspective. Let me try again. Give it another shot without actually changing anything. Oh, I think the second one looks like a proper side view. Maybe. Yes, this looks cool enough actually. I think this is fine. This looks pretty cool though, but it's just not a proper view. This is too big. It has this gauge though, which I like. So actually, it has gauges for power and dust storage. Let's try. But if this doesn't yield anything better, I'll just use the bottom one, and I'll just use some of the elements here to show power. Although actually those gauges should be on the submodules, so maybe we can generate sprites for the submodules, because this is more like the outer core of the avatar, and then the power module itself will have its own gauge that is displayed on the outside. This is too much of a side view. Same here, same here. I'll go for the Roomba, because you know, I like these ones, but they're just too big. But you should have the sense of being very small in this world. Right, let's give it some edits. I think there's a bit too much of a white border around here. Remove that. Go. Oh, there's a shadow here, which I don't want. I don't think I want that. So I'll use the add editor to remove some of these. Oh, problem is, where's the wheel? Are there wheels here? Oh, this is maybe the wheel. It's clear. So one of the downsides of this is that, yeah, I mean, the generative AI kind of creates shapes, and any shape that has the same color is connected, even though it's not necessarily connected how a human would make these 2D shapes, so you need to be quite careful with that. I'm wondering if I can use this as a gauge for power. So I'm thinking about like removing this. That's not gonna work out in it. Okay, I'm gonna do it differently. Let's just keep it simple. Let's not try to make it too fancy. I'll keep this transparent because I maybe want to use it as a gauge of some sort. I can still fix it later on, but we'll see. This can go. Yeah, let's just stick to this. We'll improve later. Let's create a new artboard. Call it Roomba. Is Roomba actually a brand? I don't even know. Or is it? I guess it's a brand that people just use now. 1x export art. Oh, wait, unselect this one. Wait, this is not named. Let's just name it. It should have just done now. Yeah, it should be there. Let me export actually both of them. I'll replace that one because this one has an actual name, but I will not do it here. All right, let's go back to Unity. First things first, let's go to sprites. I want to change this sprite by the newly named one. Wait, that's my rigid body. Where's my sprite? This one is now named. I can now remove this one. Delete. Then the proxy sprite will be the Roomba. There you go. All right, look at that. We have a first actual image. So now the scale of the neural network is way too big. So we are but a small piece of thing. Not even in the same world, but no. Can I think you need to use a sorting layer. With a higher number? Yes. The only problem here is, can I give this like a, does that work? Kind of. Make it a bit more visual. Like you can put it in there. Fits it perfectly. So when we're controlling this thing, I'll put the position there. I think that's a good position to put it. Oh, sprites. Just save it here, it's fine. Let's see. And now I want to make a third type of object, which is a module that exists inside our casing here, which is again the same. Let's just give it a triangle and call it a module. And I guess we should start off with a computer, like computer module. And this one is, it's a proxy, but let's give it a name maybe. It's the proxy. Should I use underscores? Roomba module computer. All right, let's go to scripts. And we need a script for computer module computer. I don't know if I like the underscores though. It's already very specific, because I think it's better to make maybe a generic class for modules and then make a like a subclass or whatever they call it. But let's just start out with this. Okay. So the main point is that a player will send the input that it received from the actual, human playing the game. It will relay it to the computer that is a module of the proxy. And once it receives that input, it will tell the Roomba to move. So that's kind of the chain of events here. So the player presses the keyboard, the input manager gives that to the player object in the game, and the player object in the game will say, well, what's the proxy that I'm controlling right now? I'll send the input to that proxy or the computer of that proxy to the module, and the module is going to say, oh, I received instructions to move something. Well, what should I move? It's the proxy that I'm a module of. That's kind of the hierarchy that I'm looking for here. So I think we should start with, let's open up Visual Code here. Oh, I just see, oh, that sucks. Oh, I didn't commit last time and I already did additional changes. So let's stage all changes, but remove the changes that I just did today, which are here: module computer, proxy is not part of that, proxy meta. That's actually a part of it though, not the Roomba either. No, project settings. Not the Roomba. Yeah, I should have committed last time, so we need to take care that we do that, because otherwise the commits are going to be a mess. Because I think parts of this already contain changes. Input system, meta. Just having a look at all the types of files that it is actually changing. Such interesting. All right, let's just do this. So we have a feature. Beat player. Add player object and movement script. That's kind of what we did last time. There you go. Close everything. Let's continue. I don't like this. Let me delete that script. There should not be an underscore in the script's name. I don't like that. Let's just start with module. Keep it simple. I would call it proxy module because otherwise it's not so clear. Let's go to proxy first, just to say that a proxy can have, I guess, an array of modules. It's list. I see it already does a list module. No, not module, proxy modules. Say install modules is a list of modules. Now our proxy is the thing that should be moving. It also means that we should remove the rigid body from the player and put it here. If you go to the player shouldn't have the rigid body anymore because it's removed this component. Player input sprite renderer. Does it still have a sprite? Yes, it does, so that's fine. And let's now go to, actually I should attach the scripts immediately. Let's rename this to, or let's keep it simple because I've been adding like specific names, but maybe we should just proxy module. There you go. Proxy, you take the proxy script. Oh, it already has it. And proxy module, you take the proxy module script. There you go. The proxy is the most physical thing. Like even the modules don't necessarily have to have a physical presence unless I really want them to. Maybe I do want it that you could actually damage the modules separately, and if one module is broken, so it should still maybe exist in the real world. Proxy module. So let's give all of them a rigid body 2D. Proxy. There you go. So the player, we removed it. But it also means that in the player script, anything that has anything to do with rigid body now has to be moved to the proxy. It's proxy rigid body. On move, we keep that on the player because it's still the player that is controlled by the human behind the screen. It's just that the move thing doesn't happen here. The move is done by this thing. But this is going to be no. Void move. Just not this. Well, let's keep these functions. They might be useful in the future. They just did some work for me there, which we'll probably still need because it installs the modules. Which it. See, but this code is still using the old access system, so that's not what we need. And actually it's important that this move is not called by the proxy itself. This function is called by the player. The player will say, no, sorry, by the proxy module. The controller module will call this function. I also need to get rid of all of this. Put it here. So we need to say here proxy module controlling proxy. And we need to call, yes, that's what we need. So we need to, when we're getting the on move called on the player, it needs to relay that information to the proxy that it is controlling, so the controlling proxy, and call their move method based on the value that get in here. And we're getting the vector 2, which is, yeah, fine, that should work. Should this already work? I think it will. Let's do some logs here. Move called, yes. Move called add player.cs. So now I know where the code. Debug.log. Move called. .cs. Yes. So this should already work, I think. Oh no, the control proxy is not set, but we can quickly do that manually. Because I think if you can use serialized fields, you can like attach things to it. Control proxy, and then I just need to move this here. Let's just see. I think this thing will fall because there's still gravity going on. See, I can at least control it. But gravity is stronger than I can kind of, so it is working. The move called by proxy, and then move is executed at player. Okay, let's start off by making a floor here. No, 2D objects, sprites, square. We need to add a rigid body to it. Because then I think, let's test it, gravity will stop the Roomba from falling further. Oh, the thing, it's the floor itself is falling. That's not what needs to happen. So, gravity scale 0. No gravity. Oh yeah, I think you can also just say static, and then nothing gets simulated. Let's try it again. Right, let's go. Because I also have Copy, and you can also ask it here. So, how to prevent an object from falling to another object. You need to ensure that both have a collider. Oh yeah. It needs a collider. I think it needs both. So box collider 2D. There you go. And now it has this. Yes. And this one also probably needs it. But this is not a box. Okay, great. one of my objects is an irregular shape. How to make a collider to fit around irregular shapes. See, the cool thing is that it even references your script, so it can just check your chip. Oh, sorry. Actually, you can use the mesh collider. More computationally. Wait, collider. Mesh collider. Isn't it a polygon collider though? Because I see polygon collider. What about polygon colliders? But I'm only working with polygon colliders. The only downside is that it's always thinking that I want to set everything in the VS Code, but that's not really alright. So let's go for polygon collider then. Oh look, yeah, and it's just goes around the shape itself automatically. I don't even have to do anything, so that's cool. I think now, let's save the scene. If I start it, this thing should drop on the floor and stay there. Our players should actually not do anything because it doesn't have any physics. There you go. And I can move it around the floor. I can fly though, so that's not really the point. But I can't keep flying, so that's something that if I keep pushing the button, it falls. So it only gives the thing a velocity once. But look, this is fine. It's moving around and I can fly. I can make a little jump. Good. Let's remove the debugs. That's working. There's still something here. So if you do decide type of movement, which is like physics based, transform based. I think there's a both. Let's go to ChatGPT. No, or we can ask it here. It's actually always faster here. Okay. How many different ways are there to move to the objects in Unity? Like with forces, positions, etc. Transform. You can directly change the positions. That's the thing that we did in last episode at the beginning. Like it was like just set the position, but then it does it immediately. Then rigid body velocity. You can set the velocity. It takes into account some physics interaction. Add force. So that's when you apply forces. Great. Whoa, there's actually a lot of ways to do it. Oh yeah, translate. Translate. What's move position? Takes into account physics interactions. Translate doesn't take into account physics. That's interesting. That's good. If movement is complex and involves animation, you can use an animator to. Right, so if you're using methods that move the transforms, like transform translate or transform position, like these two, so number 5 and number 1, physics is not taken into account. So that's interesting. If you use, as soon as you call methods on or set settings on rigid bodies, that's when force. But then there's still 3 different ways of doing it. Setting velocity, adding force. So I want physics taken into account, meaning there's 3 remaining ways. What are the main differences between velocity, forces, and move position? You guys can follow this, right? Yeah. Sets the velocity directly, changes its speed and direction instantly to a given value, regardless of its mass, okay, or existing velocity. Yeah, so if it already has a velocity, you're not adding to the existing velocity, you're just changing it. Constant speed can result in unrealistic behavior. All right, add force. This means heavier object will accelerate slower and lighter objects will accelerate faster. The object will continue to move until the force is counteracted. I think that's the one that I want in the end. But then move position, I don't really know what that does because I don't understand why there's a third method. It moves it to a specified position, taking into account the physics difference. Right. So move position I think is more interesting for other things, but I think ours forces is the way to go because I do want it to be more realistic, meaning that like, because if we're also going to take into account power consumption and power usage, like a heavier thing should just take more power and it should move slower with the same amount of power applied to it. So we're going to change that. So if we go to move, let's just delete all of it. And I will say move the proxy using forces. Proxy velocity vector times proxy speed. Move. No. Physics forces using add force. That's what I was asking. Do I need to add speed though? Is speed relevant? I think I actually need like force per input. Input vector, let's call it that. Oh, did you want to do something? Input value is input vector. This is velocity. I'm guessing it's a float. No, it's probably a vector. Come on, you should be able to figure it out. Yes, there you are, finally. Good. Move by force. Let's do move by velocity. Let's just make public for move by velocity. Let's get velocity per input. And this is constant also, it's not adding velocity. And I need to call this move by force. Should call it move by input using force. Okay, let's check. So the difference now should be that if I stop pressing the button, the thing should still be moving. What? It's moving a tiny amount. I think we should make it a const if it's a serialized field though. Fine, let's see. Ah, yes. I don't understand that when I keep pressing though, like. It's only adding the force once. I think we need to set the input value. Public set input. There you go. We should call it move input though, because we might have different. Because in the end, it's true though, like we should only like give the value and then it's up to the proxy to decide what to do with that value. I think this should work now. So what we changed is like, instead of giving the instruction to move, we're just saying, look, this is the input value, and then it will be set which is more akin to what we had at the player in the first place. But I'm not 100% sure. If this doesn't work, I'm just gonna ask. And I can look at the code and say, because then I can just say, look, I want it to keep moving as long as I press. Now it's not working at all. Okay. I want relay the move input to the proxy as long as the move button is pressed. A force needs to be applied to the proxy. Oh yeah. Now this is not being called at all. Sorry, now this needs to be moved on input force. Yes. Theoretically, because now this function wasn't called anymore. Wait, there's still an issue here. What are you complaining about? Expected? Oh yeah. Go back. I'm gonna move the console again. Just for now, because I don't like it here. Oh, we have a lot of errors here. Pause. Rigid body. 34. Oh. Oh, it needs to be set to at least some value, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Because otherwise it just doesn't exist at all. Related to move input to the proxy class. Set move input value. Right. Remember to connect the on move function to the move button. Okay. Needs to move. Okay, it was already set to move. Here's how it works. The player class. No. Set input value method in proxy. The update method. Right, but I have this error, so that's the thing. Let's try it one more time then. ChatGPT says it should be working already. We'll see. Value is never used. Yeah. Remove it. Because so it says that we shouldn't, right, so we should be storing vector 2's vector 2 0. Yeah, that makes sense. Move input, yes. Move input is value dot get. All right, so this should work then. So it says that we can't really use input values later on, so we should store it as a vector 2 and then it should be fine. Let's see. So all I'm trying to achieve here is that if I press the button, oh yes, that seems to work, but it's way too fast because it's probably still set to 100. No, right, let's see. Player proxy force per input. Yes, so let's send it back to 10. Maybe more reasonable. Save the scene. Let's see where this thing flies. It does need to slow down when I release the button though. There you go. This is perfect. Oh, I can control, right, but it's right. So that works. The only downside is now is that it keeps adding force, and I would say that the friction with the floor should be way more. I think those are physics settings though. Mass. So let's give it a mass of 10. Would a Roomba be more than 10 kilos or whatever it is? But this should just slow it down. This should just, with the same force, it should speed up less. But I think to actually get drag, basically, I do need to set this to something. So let's set this to 1. Let's see. We should actually just edit it, because you can edit this while in play mode. I think that's a better way to do it. Yeah, you see, so it, all right, now it's extremely slow. So if I set this to 1, yeah, but this is better. This is more what I'm expecting. Now I can also fly like I was expecting to. Shouldn't fly though, but this is more, this is really what I wanted. I would say the linear drag could be a bit better. Let's put it to 5. Yes, I think this feels good. There's a little bit of like, okay, I'm gonna release and then it just moves for a little while, so that's fine. The linear drag is 5. Actually, there is a max speed here, which is probably clamped by the linear drag. But even if I put more force on it, I think this is fine to start off with. Like, the only thing that I do want to change, this thing shouldn't be able to fly. But actually, so we now move the codes to the proxy. But the capability of moving is not the proxy itself, it's the module that is installed, like the wheels or the motor or whatever. So we should still make a proxy module and then move it over there as well. Proxy module, mono behavior. Right. Move, set move, input value. No, wait. Because okay, there's a few things. A proxy module, yes, but a module should have a module name. There you go. No, module description. This is a module. Good for you. No, sorry. Module type. But I want the module types not to just be any string. They need to like be of a certain type. So I want to create different module types based on the main module class. Each type is, and then module types are selected from a list, which I think is called enums. Let's see what it will say. Inheritance and enumeration. Yes, that's a public enum module type. So let's copy that. Where will we see, boy? Public enum. I would say computer. That's one type of module. And then the other one would be like power, for example. We'll deal with that later. And locomotion. Now we're gonna use two of those. Let's just skip power. We only have two. We have the computer, which allows to take control, and the computer will then send to the locomotion module like, oh, you can move us, because it will try to send it to locomotion. If there's no locomotion module, then it will just not move. And if the locomotion module is broken or it doesn't have power, etc. So we're trying to make modules and divide like responsibilities to the different modules, which also means that proxy module needs to be an abstract class. Abstract class, right? Is that what you're saying here? Public abstract module type get. What does this do? Define any common functionality here. Yes. Right, and then okay. Abstract class. All right. Remove this. Module IDs. Yeah, that could be interesting as well. Public abstract module name. What does this do though? I need some explanation here. So let's just call it module name, private string. No, that's not. Module description. Yes. So what does that get thing do? I think it's creating its like getters and setters automatically. Finds a property with a getter. So then you don't have to make your own getters and setters, I guess. The abstract must be overridden. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, okay. So this means that like you can only get it, you can't set it afterwards once it's created, but we do need to override it when we make. So let's make a new script here. To our computer module, create script proxy proxy module computer. We can say that now we go back to ChatGPT. So I need to do public override. Where do I need to do it? Just here. Public overrides. Computer. Namespace is missing. Oh yeah, I need to proxy. So it's, yeah, there you go. So our proxy module computer is a subclass of proxy modules, and we're overriding the module type by saying it's module type.computer, which is the enum that we've provided here. So these are the types of modules that we can make. Great, so that should work. While we're at it, so square here, let's just rename this back to floor. The proxy module, we'll make it a child of the proxy. So that way we can more easily access it. The floor, let's put it upstairs. Player, proxy module. Yes. Should we make a sprite for it? Because now it's like, yeah. So let's go a sci-fi cyber computer chip. Let's just attach a small chip to the Roomba visibly, and we'll put it there where our thingy is here. Let's put the chip there, and that's where we as a player or as AI will live if we have taken control. Generate a chip. Oh, it's hard to do. It looks nice. So, and you know, the cool thing is that it will maintain the styles that you already have, which is this toggle here. So the things will always look similar, which is pretty nice. But which one do I like the most? That's difficult to say. Although I think I like this one the most, because it has this little eye in it, which is where I can maybe put my red markings. Yes, I like this one the most. Right. Oh, let's maybe immediately make it to the size of what we think it is. There we go. Computer chip. Object, our ports. All right, let's make it square again, just to make sure. So 70 by 70. There you go. Let's put it in the middle and export it. The only thing is now it doesn't really, it's not super visible. I wonder if I should make this thing like more red. Come on. Yes. A bit more visible. Yeah, I like it. Right. Export, clear selection, this one. Export artwork. There you go. Oh, I'm no longer exporting to that folder. Good. Let's go. Sprites. There you go. Yes. Should definitely always be on top. Why is this? Can I make this invisible? It's always like... Why is it showing this, by the way? The input thing. There you go. Oh, but the player should be even more on top. So the proxy itself, let's put it on layer. Where's the sprite? Sorting layer, default order and layer. Let's put it at 5, which is the middle. If you want to put things behind it, this one I want to put it on top. And then the player should definitely be like at 10 or something. There you go. All right. Great. Go back to the code. Module type. Make one for the description. Yes, there you go. Then when we go to the the child type of module type. Then we should override the module name, which in this case is computer. And there you go. That allows the proxy to be controlled by a player. So you see how like Copilot already knows what's going on here, even outside of this particular script, which I think is pretty cool. But it understands what I'm trying to do here. Now it's actually this one that we should receive. So let's go back here. So on move, controlling, instead of saying controlling proxy, no, well, yes, it's controlling proxy. We should well, on start, we should install some modules here. So we need to make a second script, and then we have all the scripts that need to interact with each other, because we're missing one script here, which is proxy module locomotion. Proxy module locomotion. Right. This script should actually do a lot of things automatically. Yes, there you go. There you go. But you are not proxy module. There you go. And there's a few things that this one, like what is this thing moving? It's not moving itself, right? It should move its proxy. So proxy moving proxy to be moved. Let's call it like proxy to be moved. There you go. So let's first install the modules here. So upon start, we're going to say install all children components for each proxy module and components in children. So that's what it, so this is again really nice. It just knows. I don't have to think about how to do this. It just does it. Install modules, add module. There you go. We can test this because if we serialize this, then we can check it once we press play if it actually did that. But let's just also do some debugging. Installing module, module.name, module installed module. There you go. But then we also need a function to get a certain module. So we need public get installed module by type. Let's see. Public proxy module, right? Proxy module. There you go. For each proxy module, install module, if module, return module, otherwise, yes. These are some things we need, because then for the player controlling proxy, we should say get install module by type. We should get the computer, and we should say because we as a player should only be concerned about the computer, and it's the computer that's going to take care of the other modules in its proxy. So we should say send move input. So on the proxy computer, just a second, I'm kind of blanking out here. So we're gonna send a message to the computer. No, yes. Ah, there you go. Actually, let's keep it simple. I'm just starting to wonder because I'm probably maybe making things a little too realistic, and maybe that's not a good idea because there's like 3 relays happening here just for the sake of, but is that really necessary? I think I'm gonna keep it a little bit simpler here. There you go. Move. So we're gonna copy this code, well, cut and paste to the locomotion now. But we don't have move input, so just vector. Yes. Yes, so it's copying all of that. Quick fix. Go. This is irrelevant. This is irrelevant. It's just locomotion. Set move input value. Yes, why are you complaining? Because it should exist. Proxy module. Ah, yeah. Because I think you need to as yes, but I don't think that works. There you go. I think this is what it's supposed to be. because of this inheritance, I think that's an issue because it doesn't recognize it as a locomotion module. You have to say that you have to kind of convert it into one of its child types. Proxy module set move input file. Yes. And then this one. But currently the computer, we're actually not using it. The computer is just going to be determining. If there's no computer, you won't be able to control it. But so basically we're going to have like a, so controlling proxy, whether or not you can actually control it later, that will determine whether or not this can happen at all. That's something for later. So let's see. We need to check though if this is not no. Debug locomotion module not found. Error. I have other things. Warning, it may be better. Maybe we want to make a value here that is, I do want to see it. Header. Oh yeah, I think you can make like groups as far as I remember from the tutorial. Let's just make everything serializable because I think if you make something serializable, oh, that doesn't work for these things. How does this work? Let's just ask. Okay, so I've been streaming for a while now, so I need to get somewhere where I can say locomotion module setting. Yeah, sure. So I want to keep a reference in the in every module, which actually I should do it in the parent module. I want to keep a reference to the module that is to the proxy that is installed on. So here, private proxy say installed on proxy. Let's make a getter for it. Sorry, a setter. Set installed. And that needs to happen when I'm installing. So installing module, so we need to do it in the other way around. There you go. This is cool. It does it all automatically. So this is basically an inverse of each other. So this one says you are now installed on me, and then this says I'm installed on you. This keyword, which is probably related to this. And honestly, this is becoming way too big of a function, so I'm gonna make a private void install modules. Install module on proxy. I think this is better practice so that I don't start, keeps it simple. debug installer modules on proxy. I like to add a lot of debugs in the beginning, like when stuff happens that I know where stuff is happening. That's good. So yeah. So proxy to be moved. We need to rigid body to be moved, because then it's a bit more generic. And actually, so it needs the rigid body to be moved. Is the get component rigid body? No, so that's the thing. It's not its own rigid body. It's the proxy to be moved dot get component rigid body. Right. And who's setting that? Still errors here. You can see it. Yes, there's still an error here somewhere. Oh, let's just go step by step now. I want to test it. So on start, update, nothing happens. But on move, I'm going to look for the locomotion module on the proxy that I'm currently controlling. The question is, should I like look for it all the time? Every time? Because then I have to do that like every time. Every time I'm moving, it does that search. The thing is though that since we're gonna switch devices like on a moment's notice, maybe that should happen. We might change that later, but anyways. So then I will check if there's none, then nothing happens. There's an error or warning, and then it says set the input move value on that module locomotion. So then we come here, it's going to set that, and that's all it needs to do. All right, the move still needs to be called here on every update. That's something that we forgot. And then it does the same as before, and the computer is currently not really doing anything. It's going to be installed. I think it's gonna work. Obviously it's not gonna work because that would be insane, but let's try. Obviously errors. Wait, let's clear this because there were some errors already. Pause. Oh, the module. This module should not be dynamic, it should be static because it doesn't need to be moved. It should just follow its parent. References runtime script fields. Game object named proxy module reference runtime script in cnode file fixing. Can't be. Guess we should just remove this then. This is not possible. Let's just ask. Cannot be abstract. So see, already made mistakes here. We're gonna need to check. Public override. Public virtual. Need to change this. And do we need to public override? Do we need to change anything here? not. Oh, got installed. Locomotion module not found.
Installing module, install module but without a name, install modules and books.
Get components. But it's not components though. Or is it? Module. Can we just ask for its name? Okay, so when I start to move, it says that it just can't. Oh, we should check. Okay, sorry, we should check serialized fields because that's the easy way to see like things got assigned properly. Installed modules, proxy module. But oh, there really is no. Okay, I should copy this because there literally isn't. Locomotion. It just wasn't there. Didn't make it. I made the script for it, but I didn't. So. And also I should not, yeah. Shouldn't add the superclass, I should add the subclass. So basically computer, no, this is locomotion. I just didn't add any of the scripts, which is just silly. There you go. This might work better. It's actually doing something. Oh, but it has installed something, that's good.
Installing module, module computer, and install it. There you go.
So if you now go to the proxy, there should be two. Yes, great. That's it. It installed both of this in the list. This one though wants to start. Oh, but it does it before it's installed. So we should do this not like we should do this upon installation. So let's say initialize module. public void initialize module. And this should not be called by itself, but it should be called when right after it's installed. So module dot initialize. What? Oh, it says it can't find it. It's very specific though, like. Oh, but okay, I understand, because it needs to override, because so it should exist here. And it's like, there you go. It doesn't do anything. But then here, we're overriding it and think maybe that should work. Well, it's not complaining, so, well, is it complaining here? No, fine. Okay, great. And now that might work. So the thing is, so the problem is that the start function apparently of the module where it said look for your proxy to which you're installed happened before it was actually installed. So that went wrong. So we needed to change the order and things is happening, which means that looking for the proxy you're installed on should happen and called by the proxy you just got installed on, if that makes sense. Come on, no errors. Yes, errors, obviously. My mic. Reference not set to an instance of an object. Rigid body to be moved is proxy to be moved. Is that happening in the correct order though? That installed proxy. Yes. Let's debug this. Let's go check. Installed on proxy. Somewhere in the script. It's not showing it. Because I didn't put it as serialized field. Right. Just want this to work. And then we can so the proxy itself has the modules installed. You have installed on proxy. Yes, it says installed on proxy, so that seems to work. Oh, there's no rigid body, so that thing is not working. Okay. Proxy to be moved, get component. Does it have it? Rigid body 2D. Let's can you show me the thing? Rigid body found. Right, so let's show me the one you found because it doesn't seem to be set. Come on, just find it. I think if once that's done, it should be fine. So it could find a proxy, it just didn't find the rigid body.
Initializing locomotion module, no reference. Object reference cannot be set,
So it doesn't find this. Get component, proxy to be moved. Can you show me the proxy to be moved?
Yeah. We've been using two different variables for one and the same thing here. I think I need to, how do I call this? Installed on proxies inaccessible due to its, can I do quick fix? It says its protection level. Change installed into set. Installed on proxy. That's in the parent. Okay, how do I access? How to access fields in parent class on child class. There must be some kind of a way. Either I'll do it via method, but protected. Oh, if I make it protected instead of private, go to proxy module. Let's see. Yes, great. So I think so. Private, as far as I know, in object-oriented programming, private means you don't get access from anywhere. But this is a child class, so you'd be like, well, why can't I access this? Well, you do need to change the parenting to protected, which is a bit different from private. The other way would have been to just either make it public, but that's not a good idea, I think. Is to just make a method and I call the method on the parent, but this is cleaner. So let's check. Come on. This should be possible. So just to like, oh, no bugs. Can I actually move? I can, but I'm really slow. Why is that? I can move, but it's slow. But let's double check. Proxy to be moved, rigid body to be moved. Well, again, because I paused it, right? Let's just play again. The player. What are you? I'm controlling the proxy, and it's correct. I'm controlling that proxy. This proxy has two modules installed. Each module has a reference to its proxy. Yes, both of them. And this one also has a reference to the rigid body. However, force per unit 10 doesn't seem to be enough to get this thing moving. Oh, it's not moving at all. Let's do some debugging again. Move input value. Debug. Moving proxy. Let's see. Move input value. Did I make it super heavy or something? No. Well, let's give it a mouse of 1 just to be sure. Show me the force. Here, at least it should be a positive number. Right, because once this works, then I think I reached what I wanted to reach, is have this hierarchy of player, proxy, and proxy modules. And it seems a bit complex for a simple system of just moving things around, but I think this is what I'll need to expand on what I want to achieve in the later parts of the game. So once that's going, then we just need to make variants of all of these things to make things more complex in a simple way, because
then they will be able to rely on existing classes. They will just be variations of it, I think. Show me the force adding. Oh, but it didn't change anything. Was it really just because it was way too heavy? Or it really was? Wow. Oh. Alright. So the force per unit should also just be bigger. So because let's think about, like, I just want to know what's the average weight of a Roomba. Let's just ask. What would be the weight of a Roomba? And I'm gonna just put my units in kilograms. Like the Roomba, if I could 3 to 4 kilograms. Whoa. Right. Which means that I'll just set it to 3 kilograms and I will adjust. Actually, that does seems to be the speed of a Roomba though. So like I don't need to make it much faster. So that's fine. Right, so let's close it down. Let's adjust it. 3 kilograms. Linear drag seems to be fine. And the force per input on my locomotion is set to 10, and that seems to be okay. I wonder if there's ways to actually, there are like units on here that actually make physical sense. But anyways, that's not for now. The only thing I'll do now is remove all my debug calls, because that's just, it's just gonna be in the way for future stuff. Debug.log. Actually, we should just charge for it. Debug.log. There you go. Remove this. The warnings I'll keep because those are relevant even in future. This is only called in the beginning. I'll leave this for now because I think this will be relevant in the future, but not the ones that were being called each update. That's just silly. And I think I'll leave it here for the coding. So just to reiterate, what have we done here? That last time we were just moving the player around, but that's not really the point because the player is just a piece of code that doesn't really exist in the physical world. It is controlling what we call now proxies. It's devices or maybe later humans in the physical world, and it does it by sending a signal to a module of the proxy that is capable of moving the proxy around. But just think of the proxy module locomotion module as the motor and some wheels. That's basically what's inside here, and if that's present, you can control it and you can make the thing that you're controlling move around. So it's kind of a, you know, a relay instead of directly controlling whatever, but because you're going to switch around from proxy to proxy continuously in this game, that's how I think it needs to work. But we'll see and test it later on. So that's what we were able to get now. We have a system of a hierarchy of proxies with proxy modules that are sub with parent classes and child classes, and it kind of seems to work. So I will commit now, because otherwise I'll forget it again and I'll make changes. So we have added a feature. Well, we can actually, you know, we can sum it up here in our feet in the scope of, let's say, proxy, and we add proxies, proxy modules, and locomotion module. Add proxies, proxy modules, and locomotion modules controlled by player. Commit. And there it is. And that's it for today. Well, not for today. I might be streaming later on, but that's it for this session because I think it's already been quite a long session. See, it's a session of 2 hours. I was hoping to keep things into sessions of 1 hour, but we had a lot of bugs here going on that we were able to fix using Copilot, so that's nice. Although Copilot also made its own mistakes. So that's the thing I'm saying, like, many cases it can make you go faster, sometimes it makes you go a little bit slower. But it's fun to try it and use it, and especially things where you really don't know what to do anyway. And it would take you half an hour over an hour just to look it up somewhere. And here it's just in your IDE, so that's nice. Alright, so that's what we have now. It's a moving proxy with a mover module or locomotion module controlled by the player. Next up, I think we need to make sure that the player itself is positioned on the proxy that is controlling, and we should add a camera that follows it, because right now we're not following our proxy. That's what we want to do in the next stream. Alright, thanks for watching. See you around. Goodbye.